All right, it's 6 o'clock. Welcome everyone to the USD 230 Board of Education meeting. Rachel, please take the roll. Mrs. Horn? Here. Mr. Chitwood?
Present.
Mrs. Mitchell? Here. Mr. Ewing?
Here.
Mrs. Milius? Here. Mr. Hull?
Here.
Mrs. Baker? We have a quorum. Thank you. Moving on to approval of the agenda.
Madam President, I move to approve the agenda as presented. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay. Rachel, please take the vote. Mr. Chitwood?
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell? Yes. Mr. Ewing?
Yes.
Mrs. Milius? Yes. Mr. Hull?
Yes.
Mrs. Horn?
Yes.
Approved. Thank you. Moving on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise and join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, moving on to 4.01. This is the point in the meeting where we read our mission and vision to keep these thoughts at the forefront of all of our decisions. Our mission is to be a school district that engages students to learn, create, adapt, and succeed in an ever-changing world. And our vision is to maintain small town values and empower each student to achieve world-class success. All right, 5.01 on business with individuals. Looks like we have one card today. Marcus Howell.
All right. Thank you. Just wanted to.
I'm so sorry, Marcus.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I just want to remind you, you get 3 minutes, and based on Kansas law, the board shall not hear personal complaints concerning any student, employee, or groups during open session.
No worries. No worries.
Thank you. All right.
Here tonight, obviously represent my family, but some of the other kids that are participating in some of the national educational stuff that we do. I sent you all an email yesterday. Dr. Luttrell and I have also exchanged some emails over the last week about specifically about NSDA national convention or national competition that several students, 3, maybe 4 students now that have qualified to go to Chicago over the Memorial Day weekend. In the past, we have had some of those costs covered. In the past years, I think our daughter has qualified 3 times now, and this will be our 3rd time as a junior at the high school. And we were taken back earlier last week when we found out that there was no funds available to travel these children to Chicago. And obviously, downtown Chicago during the holiday week is kind of expensive. It's one of those things. So I'm just here really just kind of reinforce the email I sent that really would really like to see some funding allocated to some of these national academic qualifying events that these children spend a tremendous amount of time outside of school time, Friday nights, Saturdays, and Sundays, sometimes studying up for the next week. These are events that they qualify for, they earn points for, they go to several different competitions to compete against a lot of different schools in the region and have done very, very well. It's been actually a fantastic season for them, but for Kaylee's whole year or whole high school career has been very, very good. She's had wonderful sponsors of it. When the sponsors were unable to be there, us parents have filled in and continue to do so. Even in Chicago, because of some of the school rules, of my daughter's the only female going, my wife has to attend as a chaperone to be in the same room as her because, there's different rules and we can go into those details other times. But anyways, there's a cost associated to it. I think if it's happening to us on the forensics and debate side, there's probably some other academic things that are also would require some funding. So obviously that's our situation, but I know that some things have been brought up in the past and maybe have not been moved forward, but I'm here to help push that forward and look for some funding, in the immediate future as well, if not the years coming up. So I just think that'd be something to take a look at. talk with the school district and the teachers and the sponsors and see what needs might be there. So perfectly happy to do fundraising and stuff like that, just like some of the other activities do. But the academic part, I think that's why we're all here. That's why we send our kids here. We love the school district. We do a good job. The teachers and administrators here that take care of our children are fantastic. And I just think that we should really, really celebrate these academic achievements by these kids and reward them with some sort of financial support and accolades, especially when they come back. So appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcus. All right, any other cards presented? No. Okay, wonderful. All right, moving on to the consent agenda, which includes approval of consent agenda items, approval of the minutes, personnel, Cisco licensing, Gillis contract, IDEA assurances, Propio contract, renewal of Zello, renewal of Edpuzzle, renewal of Habitudes, renewal of Gizmos, and the new instructional resources for 2025-26 school year.
Madam President, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented and read.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, Rachel, please take the vote.
Mrs. Mitchell, Yes. Mr. Ewing,
Yes.
Mrs. Milius,
Yes.
Mr. Hole,
Yes.
Mrs. Horn,
Yes.
Mr. Chitwood,
Yes.
approved.
All right, thank you. Moving on, good news, recognitions and announcements. Dr. Luttrell?
Yes, good evening. We do have quite a bit of recognitions this evening, and I think what we'll probably do is I'm going to read each one, make sure that the people that are impacted are recognized. And then what I would like to do is after I've read them all, if maybe at that time we can come down and we'll get pictures with each group. So know we're going to want to get some pictures of those that are in attendance because we do have quite a few things to recognize. First and foremost, deals with over at Spring Hill High School. They were recently awarded as a 2025 All-Star High School, which is through the Apply Kansas organization. And this organization, basically, it's also kind of overseen by the Kansas Board of Regents, where they really try to encourage that school districts do all they can to make sure that students that want to pursue higher education, that there's plenty of sessions and informational workshops available to make sure that that can happen, whether it be, filling out the FAFSA award, the FAFSA application, different things. So again, it's something that takes extra time, but it's worth it for our students. And I know that at our high school, Mr. Williams would say again, that credit definitely goes to our outstanding staff there, especially within our high school counseling and guidance department for helping make that recognition possible so that it's recognized as an all-star high school to do what needs to be done. And I know we've got a couple of our counselors from the high school all here this evening. We'll get some pictures here in a moment, but again, all-star high school recognition, that's quite an honor. And we appreciate that because again, our students are the ones in the end that are benefiting from that. Another one that we have is the individual was not able to attend this evening because they have an ongoing standing Monday evening rehearsal. And so I think we're going to try and go over to the high school one day separately and do some pictures and presentation. But Henry Seitz, who is a senior at Spring Hill High School, was recently named a National Merit Finalist. This prestigious award, of course, is bestowed upon only about 1% of all graduating seniors across the U.S. You take a qualifying exam your junior year in the fall. Each year, about 1.3 million students across the U.S. Take that exam. And of that 1.3 million, the top performers, about 50,000 of those students of that 1.3 million, are recognized as a National Merit semifinalist, which in and of itself is a prestigious honor. That's in the basically about the top 4% or the 96th percentile. Well, then it goes on, and of those 50,000 students that are designated, about 16,000 of them a year move on and are designated as a true national merit finalist scholar, basically to get that year in roughly the little over the top 1% of all graduating seniors in the entire country. So again, we want to say congratulations, even though he's not here, to Henry Seitz, his family, and all the educators that have assisted him along his educational journey. He surely has a lot of opportunities ahead of him. There is one other round in this, and it could already be decided. I don't know. That's one thing I do want to follow up with Henry on is once you are named the National Merit finalist, okay, you then also the 16,000 students then get into the running for about 6,800 slots that are then awarded scholarships, okay? And according to the timelines they put out, recipients that are named as a finalist find out then that they've been whittled down into that to get a scholarship that's available. That usually comes around this time, mid-April, early May is when they're notified, if they haven't already been notified. And if they get into that 6,700 students that are actually get scholarship award money as a result, that puts them basically in the 0.5%, almost a 1/3 of 1% of the students in the country as being the top. So again, congratulations to Mr. Sides, and it's another testament again of the outstanding programs and education that we offer to our students. We also, for a couple months, have been making every effort to get some of our recent individuals from our boys and girls wrestling team that performed outstanding at the state wrestling tournament that was held back in February. And so in the highlights, for just some of the highlights, and by the way, we do have their coach, Coach Tucker is here this evening out there, been a longtime coach for 20 years, dedicated to the program. And I'll let him say a few words in a moment if he would like, but two individuals that stood out at the state wrestling meet that are here. And again, they can raise their hand and we'll get some pictures here in a minute, but we have Avery, Bartek, who was in the 157-pound category. He secured a runner-up finish, demonstrating skill and determination all throughout the tournament, as well as his entire season. And then we also have Gage, Gage Wingerter here, who was in the 285-pound category, and he placed 4th in the heavyweight division, capping off a very stellar season. So congratulations to the boys wrestling program for that accomplishment. And then over on the girls division, we have Ellie Ruffin, who was placed in the 135 pound category. She placed 2nd in the state tournament, showcasing her competitive excellence on the mat. Ellie, where are you at? There's Ellie. And then we also have Campbell Mermis, who actually in the 145-pound category captured the state title and was believe the first female state champion that Spring Hill School District, Spring Hill High School has had since the inception of girls wrestling. So again, a significant milestone there, and we want to recognize each of those along with the outstanding coaching staff because again, medaling at a state tournament our size division, it doesn't just happen by chance. It takes a lot of hard work, dedication, outside of the school day, year round, to make that happen. And again, we'll get some pictures here in just a moment. Then we have some core value awards, as you know, to promote our core values around the district. We have individuals that have the opportunity to provide recognition to an individual, whether it be a parent, community member, a student, a staff person, for one of the core values. This evening, we have the middle and high school administrators, they're going to come forth, and I'm going to let them begin by recognizing the individuals that they've chosen, and also will tell specifically what core values that they represented. So if my administrators that are giving those core values will come up, and we'll let each of you say the words for them, and we'll give them. And then when that's finished, we'll come back and we'll go down and we'll get some pictures with the other individuals that have been recognized tonight, including our high school counselors. So don't let people run off. So we have, like I said, I think, so Mrs. Sly, you going to start it off?
All right, well, I'll have our Spring Hill Symphonic Orchestra people come on up here. They're a little shy. I've got to say, at the beginning of the year, Mrs. Pape came to me and she was asking about using our space for this new thing that they were wanting to start up, the symphonic orchestra. And I was like, yes, 100%. I love listening to music in the building, and I'd love to listen to it after school as well. And so we got to talking a little bit more about this, and so Mrs. Pape, Mr. Ozakinchi, and Mr. Bartlett have been spending time every week after school with students that they had to try out for this club, for this group. I should let them talk. They probably would do a much better job. But I was so impressed with it that I was like, I think everybody needs to know that they're doing this, because I don't know that everybody knows this is happening. And they are devoting a lot of time and a lot of energy on these students. And the sound coming from the room when they're practicing is amazing. And it's even more amazing for the concert. So I'm going to let them kind of share a little bit about that program. But basically, world-class staff, yes, we've got world-class staff. They are taking their dedication and their time that they could be at home with their families, and they're spending it with us at school with these students and helping them get better at their skills. So.
Sure. Okay, I guess I'm next. All right, just a few things about it. The ensemble that we've created is a combination of band students and orchestra students put together to create a full symphony orchestra. Something that we can't necessarily do in the school day. And a lot of our best musical experiences, most memorable musical experiences have been in an ensemble kind of like that. And we knew it was lacking in the curriculum. And, we decided Monday nights were the night to do it. And students were excited to audition and make it happen. So it's been really great. It's been fun to collaborate, orchestra and band together. And I think the kids have gotten a lot out of it the past 2 semesters, and we've got a concert on May 5th. It'll be the last one of the year for that. So we're super excited to do some of those things, playing some movie music, How to Train Your Dragon. Who doesn't love it? Kids love it. We love it. So it's going to be a great thing. Anyone else? Go for it.
It's also for 8th through 12th grade. So this is an opportunity for them to see what is ahead of them if they choose to continue playing in our program.
Yeah, it's been acting as a perfect recruitment tool for the retention, keeping the numbers from all transferring from 8th grades into high schoolers. Mr. Williams also made me promise that I'll drop his name. And I will do that by saying every time we come up with a crazy, forward-thinking, innovative idea, and I stop by his office, knock on his door, I say, we have this idea. And he says, sounds like a good idea. Go ahead. And, that proves his trust in us, and I do really appreciate that. So it's been paying off. So kids sound great. May 5th, you're all invited. It's gonna be great. Thanks.
Thank you. And again, we will get some photos. In fact, that is my good news announcements of recognition. So if we can, President Mays, if you like, let's go down and we'll. Oh, who we got? Oh, no, sorry, Mr. Carter. I'm getting anxious. Yes, Mr. Carter, separate core value award for another purpose, and he will share that with us.
So this one is actually going to be shared by Miss Sly and myself. We have the privilege of sharing Miss Domi and actually both Forest Spring and Woodland Spring as our shared instructional coach. And it's a lot for Miss Domi to take on, and she has done it with a smile on her face and has enjoyed it. And she has done an incredible job in 2 buildings. Both of our buildings have been running smoothly this year. With whether it's state testing, whether it's tiering students to figure out which classes they need to be in, or whether it's communicating with parents about how students are learning and different things like that, Ms. Domi has done an exceptional job. And so we are very lucky that she's at both Woodland and at Forest.
And I just wanted to add, before becoming a principal, I did the role of an instructional coach. And I know the time and the commitment and the organization that it takes for one school, let alone two schools. And so we really appreciate everything that she does. She's doing a phenomenal job. She's helping our teachers be successful. She's helping us be successful and the students be successful. So we really appreciate her.
Hey, thank you. And let's get some photos right now. Photos. Search. You want one individually? And then we'll do a group?
Well, I only have 4 frames.
Let's do one individually, and then we'll get a group one.
Well, she's still on. Yes, we are showing this off.
Now we'll get still get group one. Coach, come on up with us.
But hey, the one thing that wasn't said about these 4 is they are all 4 first team academic all state as well.
We'll get coach tomorrow or something.
Okay.
And before you guys sneak out, gentlemen, congratulations, coaches, congratulations. And it was a great season. A lot of athletes that you guys are shuffling around and managing. You guys do a phenomenal job. But ladies, there's only so many chances in your life where you can set history, but also change the future. And that's what you guys did this season. So by placing first, that's something that you're going to always own forever. And we don't have very many seconds. And so you guys, future wrestlers are going to be looking up to you guys forever. And that's an amazing accomplishment. So thank you.
One last thing, I know that I did not forget the All-America High School, so I need the counselors to come back up for their photo with us.
You guys can come down and get a photo. We'll get you a- No.
Better than my own.
It's like you're getting out of here.
Counselors.
That's my good news, recognitions and announcements.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone who came. All the fun celebrating.
Nice going.
I know. Okay, well, let's move on to 8.01. We need an executive session.
Madam President, I move that the board go into executive session for the purpose of discussing personnel matters of non-elected personnel to protect the privacy interest of an identifiable individuals under COMA. Those to be in this session include the Board of Education members, superintendent of schools, and assistant superintendent of schools and administrators as requested. The executive session to begin at 6:30 with the opening of this meeting to resume at 7 at this place.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Rachel, please take the vote.
Mr. Ewing,
Yes.
Mrs. Milius,
Yes.
Mr. Hull,
Yes.
Mrs. Horn,
Yes.
Mr. Chitwood,
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell,
Yes.
approved.
Thank you.
Madam President, I move that we extend executive session 20 minutes to start at 7:02 and end at 7:22.
Second.
Mrs. Milius,
Yes.
Mr. Hole,
Yes.
Mr. Chitwood,
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell,
Yes.
approved.
Madam President, I move to extend executive session to start at 7:23 and end at 7:43.
Second.
Yep. 23 to 43.
Mr. Hall,
Yes.
Mrs. Milius,
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Chitwood,
Yes.
approved.
but are going to take a 5-minute recess and be back at 7:50. We are back in session and moving on to our one and only discussion item, 9.01 Board of Education meeting calendar for 25-26.
Yes, the two meeting option schedules for next year's, of course, that goes a fiscal year, July through June. And the two options there, the first option, one, basically takes this year's schedule that we had with the most of the time the second and fourth Monday, and then the work sessions, and puts them into this calendar format, switching out the dates. And also has the four elementary or secondary schools too that we meet at 4 times. The second option is pretty much that same thing, except for it removes having a 7 a.m. meeting at a school and changes out that for an evening 7 p.m. meeting. So that's kind of was the starting point for the two drafts. I know that we did have quite a few extra meetings this year because of the fact that, we're just trying to, get, we had several individuals, with 4 new board members, and we wanted to make sure that we had time to make sure there was proper attention given, and as well as, to the learning curve that can happen. But then I know that also, as we've talked about moving forward, this next year, we're also going to have quite a bit of in positions, new faces. And I know there's been some talk about perhaps even looking at the way the Board of Education as a whole does business in terms of, maybe forming some of that, to some sub-levels. So, we might, want to keep all those dates. And then, like I said, the thing about having those extra dates to me is they're on the calendar. And if you get to one of the special ones that's really outside of the second and fourth Monday, if there's really not a need, to me, the board does have it authority to say, okay, we're not going to have that meeting on that night. And you're not locked into it just because you approve it. So.
So my thought on I prefer option 2, I will say. I had thought that maybe we had outgrown the meetings at the elementaries and the facilities. Although I will say, I think last year when we talked about this and it was recommended by Dr. Luttrell, I didn't love that idea. But I feel like our meetings have run exceptionally long in the mornings. It's hard for people that need to get into the office. We kind of disrupt the days of the students and the teachers. And I think there's other opportunities for us to be in the schools that aren't those meetings.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. The only thing that makes me sad to miss out is that's the time we got to hear the students talk the most, is those meetings, and that was precious. So I don't think it has to be in a meeting format for us to get that opportunity. I don't know if we can set up like go in the morning and just get a school presentation kind of a thing. But that's the piece I would like to hold on to and make sure that we try to find another avenue for. I don't know if that means they come here. I don't know what that means, but.
I agree with you. I think that's one of my favorite parts is a lot of those schools really, you get to really hone in on what's special about that school, and you hear it from the kids and you hear it from the teachers. And I agree. I wonder if there's opportunities for us to tell and I've noticed a lot more lately, we get invites to, from coaches and from activity directors and things like that saying, hey, we'd love for you to come to our event. Or from elementary principals, we've gotten a couple specific invites. And I wonder if we put that out to our schools and say, we'd love to know when you have something real special or just something that a kid's going to be presenting. We'd love to be there for it. Maybe that's our opportunity then to really connect with them.
I think that's great. Yeah. So that as long as we make up that missing piece.
Yeah, and I think exactly the same way that you two have, and kind of to narrow in on what I think I would propose to see is, just like now we get a listing, so we know when sporting activities are, we would get the same kind of listing of, hey, we're doing the Thanksgiving thing at 3 o'clock. We're doing the whatever. So, we can, because that's the problem when it's not on the schedule and it's all 7 of us. We're going to need multiple opportunities to be able to come in and individually see that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the direction, because that's the stuff I want to see too. I want to see the super cools, and we're doing the diorama presentation, or, we've got our, leader in me recognitions, whatever. So, and maybe, I don't know, would the building principals appreciate not having to do a full 30-minute production? Would they be happier that way?
Maybe I wonder if we still get to see some of that information during our strategic plan updates, because I feel like a lot of that data pertaining to each school's really good to see how they're utilizing. Like this year, we've seen a lot about PLCs and MTSS, how they're utilizing that time and the success they've had with it. But I wonder if there's other ways we could see some of that too.
Yeah.
My only other ask, and this is a little outside of this next year board work calendar, but I would love for us to find a date for a retreat before maybe our meeting in June. And I know that seems like a quick turnaround, but I feel like there's quite a bit us as a board could do together. One, I would love for us to set some priorities for all of us so that we're all kind of working in the same direction, and us all decide what those priorities are. And then, I think that there's some other opportunities for us to connect together, since we all didn't get to go to NSBA and have some of that team bonding. I think that could be a great opportunity for that as well. So I don't know if anyone wants to get their calendar out and look to see if there's a date or days that they are able to join or attend, or times that maybe don't work, days that don't work.
As long as it's not a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Saturday, I should be good.
Or a Monday evening at 6 o'clock. I'm busy then. So I already know I can't do 8th, 9th, or 10th of May. I know those dates are blocked out for me.
What about maybe like the last week and weekend in May? I know that might be Memorial Day.
Memorial Week.
Is that okay? Is Memorial, help me, my calendar doesn't have it.
Date's 26th.
Okay, so what about even like that, the end of that week, like the 29th, 30th, 31st, or 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st, even all the way to like the first week in June? Is there any conflicts or for sure no's?
The 28th, I can't do the 28th.
Okay. Anyone else? Any times? I mean, I would love for this to be a little bit of an extended time.
How much time are you talking about? Like what time frame? 4 hours, 3
Yeah,
hours, 2
I would
hours?
say, Sharon, when we've done retreats previously, it's been about like a half day. Yes? Yeah.
Yep, I think so. Like either like 8 to noon or noon to 4 or something like that.
Yeah. Any weekends or weekdays? Would we all rather have a weekday or a evening or a weekend morning?
I'm flexible. I'm good there.
It doesn't matter to me.
The time that has seemed to work maybe in the past is to do a Monday evening when we're not having a board meeting. If you did
Like
it's a long time to do it in evening, but I think the last one we did, didn't we start at like 4 or 3 or something and go into the evening on a Monday? I don't know.
I don't know that I was here for that one. I can't.
It was, didn't we have something we were all brand new?
Yeah, I feel like you're
Because we
right.
don't have a meeting on the 5th and we don't have a meeting on the 19th.
Do you mean this?
You're talking
May,
about
May.
June second? Oh, you're in May. I
Yeah.
was looking at June.
I was hoping the end of May and beginning of June to get us through the end of the year.
Yeah.
I feel like it gets really busy for everybody around then. I mean, would anyone be opposed to a Saturday morning? Keith, do you have a lot of travel plans?
I'm not keen on a Saturday morning, but it's the easiest, I think, to pull off, to
Yeah,
not conflict with work.
And even like the 24th, I know that's Monday's Memorial Day, but Saturday.
Memorial Day weekend.
That would be bad.
We can do the 24th, but someone here will be responsible for bringing my birthday cake and not chocolate.
But that's also asking staff to work on a holiday weekend because you got to have some staff here too.
Yeah, no,
and
it
that's
doesn't
not-
work. Memorial Day weekend is not.
We probably just need to do like a doodle poll thing or whatever to poll everybody.
well, it sounds like maybe,
What about the 31st?
yeah, what about the 31st? Would that work? I think we'd have to check with Anna, but I think we should, she cannot do a Saturday. She's here in spirit.
She is.
Okay. What about,
Thursday, the 29th.
anyone do an afternoon? Keith, would you be available? Or a morning? Yeah, I know.
Not the 29th.
I know. Well, I know that you work during the week. We can try the 20. Sharon, how about you? Would a weekday work at all for you? If we started
As
early?
far as I know, the 29th of May would work. I would probably not like to do a Saturday,
Okay.
but if Anna can't do Saturdays anyway.
Well, I wonder if we can plan the 29th and we can start at 3. And Sharon, I know that there's been times where we've done them off-site.
We did do a couple at DLR. They let us use their conference room. We did a couple there. We've done them over at the ESC, is that what it's called, right over there? The room over there. And we've done something in here too. Do you remember doing one at DLR? That might have been before.
Yeah, that was before he came in.
Yeah.
Do you see any benefits one way or the other?
I guess it was kind of nice to get away a little bit, but that also causes whoever, like, when we did the ones over there, we had like communications and superintendent, assistant superintendent, and the clerk, I think, all there. So then that, you got to pull your staff and they have to go up there too. And it was on a Saturday when we did them there because they weren't using their conference room on a Saturday.
And I'm not sure that we would necessarily need. I think if it's priorities from us and those sort of things, I'm not, I think that's an all of us conversation, right?
I think you want to have your superintendent there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes. Dr. Luttrell, does May 29th work for you, sir? Do you have?
That date works, for that. The 29th works for me, and then what we would need to do, or what I would want to do, is if that is the date that we set, I want to then, probably get with each of you and decide, what our topics are going to be, so that if there are other individuals that we want to have present information to us, also secure them and make sure they're available. But yes, that date's fine for me.
Sure. I think that our topics are going to be priorities and possibly a team activity.
Okay, you're not gonna get me to fall off a 10-foot thing and say, trust me, John, we're gonna catch you.
We are doing a trust.
You only fall for that once.
Trustful.
Okay, so let's plan and whatever notice we need to give for May 29th at 3. Are we doing afternoon? 3 to 7?
3 to 7.
Yeah, perfect. We'll make sure we have everything we need to go from there. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for working through that, everyone. Any other thoughts on the new board work calendar and which option or any adjustments to it?
No other thoughts, just summating option 2 where we're meeting here sounds great. Like to see a continued growth on the opportunities to come in and see events and see everybody shine. Is that what we're saying?
We can work on that.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, wonderful. Any other conversation around that? Are everyone ready to move on? Okay, thank you for working through that date for a retreat. Okay, moving on to action items. We have quite a few. 10.1 inventory.
This is what we've talked about the last couple meetings. It was, contract is all in this time and covered. And again, I think that once this is done, the goal is to, have them come in and start this here in the very near future, right, Dr. Robinson? They're still gonna plan on coming in?
Near future, and they're gonna have the report back and Doug's gonna be happy and the insurance people are gonna be happy and everybody's gonna be happy.
That's the hope, yes.
That sounds awesome. I move to approve that. Action item 10.01 inventory as presented.
I'll second.
All right, motion and a second. Any further discussion? Rachel, please take the vote.
Mrs. Horn,
Yes.
Mr. Chitwood,
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Ewing,
Yes.
Mrs. Milius,
Yes,
Mr. Hole,
Yes.
approved.
wonderful. Okay, moving on to 10.02 LED lighting upgrades.
Okay, this was presented, whenever Mr. Delphia was given the list of summer project possibilities, and I know he has shared a lot of information previously about, what the return on investments and that'll be, and so we're asking that, that project is approved.
Madam President, I move the board approve the ROI energy proposal in the amount of $104,766 to upgrade all old lighting technology to newer LED lighting technology at Spring Hill Elementary School.
I'll second approving $104,766 for lighting.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, Rachel, please take the vote.
Mr. Chitwood,
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Ewing,
Yes.
Mrs. Milius,
Yes,
Mr. Hole,
Yes.
Mrs. Horn,
Yes.
approved.
okay. 10.03 capacity based on staffing, non-resident enrollment.
This has been presented, from Dr. Robinson, and, again, there's no changes, right, Dr. Robinson, from your?
No changes. We're still recommending no open seats for next year.
I think Dr. Robinson's spot on his analysis, and therefore I move to approve 10.03. The recommendation not to have any open seats for open enrollment.
Second.
All right, motion and a second. Any further discussion? Rachel, please take the vote.
Mrs. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Ewing,
Yes.
Mrs. Milius,
Yes,
Mr. Hole,
Yes.
Mrs. Horn,
Yes.
Mr. Chitwood,
Yes.
approved.
thank you. Okay, moving on to 10.04 elementary technology device rotation.
Dr. Luttrell, before you jump on this, and this, I may have missed my opportunity when we approved the agenda, but I know this particular topic is incredibly important to our colleague, Mrs. Baker, who couldn't join us tonight simply because she's got her priorities straight and is tending to her mom duties. And she also shared earlier today some data and some research that I haven't had the opportunity to fully digest. And so therefore, Madam President, I would move that we table 10.4 for action tonight and possibly move it to the April 28th meeting.
Okay, I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion, a second. Any discussion?
I was thinking there was some kind of a time sensitive factor on this to get the devices in the hands of teachers before they leave for the summer. So I think we need to go ahead and vote on it tonight. But I know there's a motion on the floor, so.
Can you help clarify? I thought there was conversation about us maybe pausing this until after May 13th.
Right, and my recollection is same as Sharon's, we couldn't do that because then it would put the teachers who needed this loaded and ready to go at risk for the summer opportunities they have.
All right, so there's a motion on the floor to table this. Motion and a second. Any other discussion?
I second the motion, but I'm kind of in the same boat of, I don't want to hold this up and I wanted to get to the discussion. But I also, if somebody's saying there's something that we haven't considered, I want to be sensitive to that too, because I always want to be heard as well. So that's kind of where I'm coming from is, I don't know, I'll be honest, I don't know the right thing to do here. I'm just 100% because teachers having to come up here and get devices and everything, that's a big deal and will drag on. But also if there's some other issue, I don't know, that's where I'm at.
Yep, agreed. I want to make sure everyone, if there's more information that was sent today and to make sure we've had time to look at that. But yeah, so motion second, any more discussion before we vote to table it? Rachel, please take the vote.
Mr. Ewing,
What, hang on, what's the yes and no's on this? Yes is tabling, sorry.
Yes, we motioned, it was motioned to table this.
So a yes is table, a no is
Yes.
not. Sorry,
Yes,
thank you.
that's okay.
Do you
That's
want to
okay.
start with me, Keith? I'm ready.
No.
No.
Mrs. Milius,
Yes.
Mr. Hall,
Yes.
Mrs. Horn,
No.
Mr. Chitwood,
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell,
No.
Yep.
I don't know what happens. in
I don't
the
know what
event
to do
of a
with this.
tie.
3-3, it doesn't pass.
Doesn't pass.
The motion
Then it
fails.
fails.
I mean,
So there's still an action item.
Okay, then I move to approve 10.04.
Second.
Okay, motion second to approve the purchase of the Apple equipment utilizing the 3-year lease, total amount of $680,863.50. That's what's been motioned and second. Any more discussion? Okay, Rachel, please take the vote.
Mrs. Milius,
Yes.
Mr. Hall,
No.
Mrs. Horn,
Yes.
Mr. Chitwood,
Yes, and we will get to whatever the other issues later.
Mrs. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Ewing,
Yes.
approved.
Thank you. All right, moving on to 10.05, approve licensed non-administrative contracts for fiscal year 26.
And that is the same list. Good. I move to approve 10.05 as presented.
Second.
All right, motion and second. Any discussion? All right, Rachel, please take the vote.
Mr. Hole,
Yes.
Mrs. Horn,
Yes.
Mr. Chitwood,
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Ewing,
Yes.
Mrs. Milius,
Yes.
approved.
Okay. 10.06, approve assistant principal recommendation for Spring Hill High School.
I take especially great pride in saying, Madam President, I move to approve 10.06, the appointment of Alex Winkler as the new assistant principal at Spring Hill High School.
Second. Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just that we're lucky to keep him.
He's going to do awesome.
Okay, Rachel, please take the vote.
Mrs. Horn,
Yes.
Mr. Chitwood,
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Ewing,
Yes.
Mrs. Milius,
Yes.
Mr. Hole,
Yes.
approved.
Okay. And 10.07, approve supplemental assignments for fiscal year 26.
I'll move to approve those too. 10.07, Madam President.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Rachel, please take the vote.
Mr. Chitwood,
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Ewing,
Yes.
Mrs. Milius,
Yes.
Mr. Hole,
Yes.
Mrs. Horn,
Yes.
approved.
Okay. Moving on to future discussion items. Are there any things we'd love to add? I'm wondering if we, from today's public speaker, we add the revisit, the student, and help me get there with this, the paying for student activities at state and national level.
Yeah.
We do for.
We do state.
Yeah. For activities that are part of a league, part of a whatever. And I think that's part of what we got hung up on the last time.
I think so
was
too.
Defining who was going to fall into it or the right language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was presented to us, but I'm not sure it ever came back to us. Is that
I
what?
think we asked questions and talked about it, but I think we kind of talked ourselves into a bit of a circle because we got hung up on.
Who was going to be eligible for the money and was the amount of money presented?
Yeah.
What did that really represent? Was that?
Well, and
too
there
much?
are groups that go like with the FFA that they earn, but they raise their own money and they go every year. So we don't necessarily want to discourage people from doing that either. So I think we did kind of talk in some circles. So, but I think it'd be good to revisit it.
Yeah, I think it's a good topic, Dad. It's a good
Yeah.
call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that should be something we should add sooner than later?
No, I think you can go on the next meeting. I think just, I think they've had had comments and put the next draft of the policy out, if any changes, or the same policy. And
And I'm guessing, I know he referenced having conversations with Dr. Luttrell, but have we brought in like Mr. Cost, Mr. Freon?
So the recommendation that you had before, we could resend through Dr. Luttrell. It clarified which groups the high school was recommending and had a dollar amount. The big thing we would need from you all is feedback as to whether or not that dollar amount goes far enough or is too much. But we could bring it back. We could send it even tomorrow.
well, in bringing it back, and maybe that's it, which is kind of the fear of the unknown. Could we just do it for the rest of the year, next academic year, and then revisit it? So
So
I'm just,
the recommendation we had on the table was $500 per student in situations where they qualified for a national. And that was the clarification and I don't remember exactly what our hangup is, but I think we would still be supportive of that recommendation.
That came back to us. I don't think the actual we talked and talked and talked, and then I don't think it ever came back with a dollar amount.
No, it got back at,
September 23rd, 2024.
yeah, we were at Spring Hill
Looked
Middle. It
earlier.
came with the $500.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
it was,
Right.
no, it was at middle. It was at the middle school, but it was $500 was the
Oh.
best,
I remember. Yeah.
the confidence interval on the number, whether it was too high or too low, wasn't there, right?
Yeah.
We don't know if that's represents a substantial enough or it's way overshooting it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, from a monetary standpoint. It's probably, well, I don't know. There's some activities that probably we don't probably spend a lot of money on.
But can't you say up to $500 and like add
Some
a
qualifiers.
50% type thing in there? So if it's under 500, then you just cover.
I think just for reference, the Chicago trip that was referenced earlier, the dollar amount I saw was somewhere like 687 or
Oh, yeah.
700. So I think when you go to these national conferences and they're typically in your larger cities, just hotel and travel there is going to easily get to that amount. But if the district is putting 500 per student, that would still give other opportunities to be able to fundraise or address the other, or you could up the dollar amount a little bit. And I think the recommendation that came through Mr. Cost and Mr. Schwinn and a few of us was trying to put as much addressing the needs of students while protecting the district at the same time, when you just can't predict how many kids you'll have qualify for those
Well,
events.
and that's kind of why I want to maybe have a discussion around putting an end date around it or a study period of, hey, we're wanting to do this and study it. Because we don't know what we don't know. And opening the door may mean everybody at the high school, all of a sudden, there's a qualifying thing. And we may go, oh my God, we can't do. So anyway, yes, I think we can come back. Sorry. We're having the discussion now, but trying to telegraph some of the.
This actually might be an area too where I know one of the Miami County Charitable Trusts that I'm a trustee for, they give a lot of money to the other school districts in the county that Spring Hill doesn't really ask for much. And it might be if there was kind of a general amount that we wanted to start some kind of a fund, that might be something that they would be willing to contribute to. And that then you could draw on it as needed. Just another idea for a funding source for it.
Yeah.
Great idea. Okay, so let's put that on the agenda for our next meeting. Any other things we want to add to future discussion items or remove if?
Yeah, I've actually got something I'd like to add then. I'd like to ask the administration to find some data and research that shows a correlation between glass, let's call them screens, and educational performance. Because it seems to me the more prolific glass has infiltrated our classrooms, it hasn't had a positive impact on performance. That's just my opinion. I would think that if they were so great to have in classrooms, that student performance would have increased. And I think at best it's either remained flat or it could potentially have gone down. And so I'd be really curious to see any data that is available out there associated with the correlation between devices and student performance. And then I'd like to take it one step further and see if there is a difference in the impact and performance between iPad devices and Chromebook devices as it relates to student performance. Therein lies the reason for my tabling of 10.4.
Okay. Can you add that to the future discussion items, please? Okay, anything else? John, how do you feel about legislative priorities?
It's been a tough legislative year. It's been real tough. I mean, we still don't know money we're getting, and I think it's I think we can kill it and add it to the retreat because I'm still in we don't have our own lobbyist. And if we don't do it, nobody does. Or we ask people to do too much.
Mhm.
So could we maybe kill it and add it to the retreat, or is that not what you were thinking
Maybe,
about?
well, I was just wondering, since the session's over, if you're like, scrap it and let's figure it out, add it next year, but,
Yeah, we already know we're not getting money.
um, but I think that's great thought for our retreat and what our priorities are, not just legislatively, but internally, but that's a big one, so.
Having the legislative ones would be helpful too, just kind of in general going forward. So I can I don't know how to talk intelligently about some of that stuff, so that would help.
Well, and maybe we can
Notes.
kill it here and maybe talk about it under calendar and just plug it in for one of the work sessions pre-legislative session. Maybe that.
Yeah, we haven't voted on.
That's true. We haven't voted
so
on the calendar.
Let's.
So I wanted to stay there until next
Yep,
meeting.
I like that idea. Good call, John. Okay. Any other things before we move on? No? Okay. Board work calendar. Let's see where we are. I apologize. I don't have it open. We did a lot. We had a lot of things we did. It looks like we look to be on track for the most part. Anything anyone sees that's a little wonky? Or property insurance, work comp, is that coming?
The workman's comp, that usually comes later.
Yeah, we
Oh.
don't have any rates yet, but it'll be coming here soon.
Okay. Okay. All right, so moving on to 13.01 Board of Education member reports.
All right. Well, I attended the National School Board Association Annual Conference and my step count was, 4,322,000 steps or whatever. No, it was a good time in terms of seeing some interesting perspective. One of the most interesting things that I saw was out of a school district out of Oklahoma by where I used to live, who essentially approached building needs and the associated bond funding that would come with it at a building level. So you essentially had a site council for the building needs. And so you started at the building to figure out what was going to go into the bond and then brought them all together. So I thought that was a really interesting perspective. And I also, so there's kind of my super interesting thing from the conference, but I don't think I'd given an update since my last SHE site council, or had I? I don't think I've given a SHE site council. That's all right. I'll give it again. The gen ed numbers, which these are some numbers that when we attended the superintendent's kind of meeting / Q&A with the senators and representatives in Topeka were really timely because they were talking about student behaviors. And I said, well, we have these really great people and we're paying for these programs of Leader in Me and paying for the implementation. And we've got this BIST in the implementation. And how that's panned out is in gen ed discipline referrals in 22-23 was 244. Last year, 155. This year, as of the time of the report, it's down to 87. Investments are working. People are putting it into practice. So they had some other great activities and things are going great at Cheese, but that's the one I really wanted to know. That's my report.
All right, who's next? Anyone?
I have a couple. I attended the musical regionals at Mill Valley a couple weeks ago. I got to hear some orchestra solos. I got to listen to our men's group, our women's group, Madrigals, Destiny, all did fantastic. It was really fun to see them in action. I'll just tell anybody, if you get the chance to hear our men's ensemble, you should take it. They left the room completely quiet. In fact, the judge said, don't move. Like he just wanted it to have a minute, and it was phenomenal. So huge props to the men's group for for their performance specifically, because it was top notch. Everybody did fantastic, but they deserve some special call outs. I also attended the Kansas Teacher of the Year, where we got to recognize Mr. Kirkpatrick from Shees and Mrs. Smith from the high school, as long as the other candidates from across the area. So that was really fantastic to get to see teachers being honored and recognized just for being fantastic. I feel like that profession probably is more so than others gets a lot of criticism, and it was just nice to be able to celebrate all the great things that these folks do for our kiddos every day. I keep a notes list so I don't forget this stuff. I attended the 4th grade music program at Shees. The kids did fantastic. It was their first time playing the little flutes, which was super cute. Huge shout out to Mr. Ham for being able to get these little people to learn an instrument and perform songs that quickly. What was especially cool was the Vote Yes group was there and presented quickly some of the hot topics or the bullet points for the bond. They also handed out some information, grabbed addresses for yard signs. So it was really great to see them in action. So that was a lot of fun. And then last but not least, I know it's middle of April now and snow days are long behind us and we're very happy for it. But a lot of the districts around us are still feeling the pain of their snow days. And I just want to give a huge shout out to our administration for nailing the number this year so that we get to think about it as a distant memory where some schools are still extending their hours of the day. So I really appreciate I don't know what crazy math goes into that, but I appreciate it.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, well, I have a few things that I attended. On Friday, the high school had a assembly speaker, and it was Libby Davis, the mother of Cooper Davis, who was a Mill Valley student who passed away from a fentanyl overdose. And we had advocated for a lot more drug education, and I think that this really was a wonderful choice for them to show our kids. It was a mom up there very close to our area speaking about her child and educating our kids on what things look like. It was great. It was really, really, really great. And I thank you to the administration for organizing that. So I also attended the NSBA conference and went to quite a few of wonderful breakout sessions. One was called I apologize. It was called the Superhero Squad, which I'd been hoping to have our retreat for a while, and I'd kind of been mulling over and talking about it a little bit. And this really solidified it and seeing kind of what boards that have prioritized things have a little more bonding, where the direction they can go. And so it's exciting to see that and to kind of reinforce what we could do. I went to one about special education and how it fits into our budget. So interested to put some of that in place this summer. And I went to another one about AI, the key to advancing teaching and learning through technology. And it was a lot about AI and technology in classrooms. Some of the best things that I attended were what they called fireside chats. So one of them was in regards to this Operation Democracy and bringing civics education back into our schools. And I don't want to say back, but into our schools. There's not a lot of curriculum that centers around that. I thought it was really, really wonderful. I can't wait to share this with Dr. Smith. But it's a free curriculum, which I love free, and really can take the kids a bunch of different places. And so there's quite a few school districts that were there that had implemented it and found success in it. So that was really great. I did get to attend the prom red carpet this weekend, which was wonderful, and watching all of our students get all jazzed up and walking in, and they all looked beautiful and amazing. And then I got to help chaperone, I don't know if that's the right word, volunteer at after prom. Wonderful kids, great opportunity for our students to stay safe and stay together and have fun after prom. Very late night, but it totally worth it. And the last thing, and I can't remember if I said this at the last one, but we were all invited to our high school dance showcase a few weeks ago, and I got to attend that. And it was really, really well done. And I love where our dance team is going, and I'm really proud of all those girls and getting out there. They have to learn, I don't know, 8 dances. We also had some guest performances by our SROs, which was really, really great. So I'm hoping next year we can fill the auditorium with all the spectators. So that is all for me. Anyone else? Okay. Last but not least, we're moving on to 14.01, our superintendent's report.
Yes, speaking of the legislative session, one of the pieces of legislation that somewhat be interesting to continue following, see how it finally comes. But Governor Kelly signed Senate Bill 45, which does mandate that the KSD utilize an alternative calculation in the future for determining school district graduation rates for accreditation as part of KISA. That amends the current statute, which, had in place. And this new statute has potential to possibly have a good, very positive impact on our overall graduation rate. I say potential because, again, while it says they must use an alternate calculation, they did not really state what that calculation should be. So we'll have to, and I do know that the virtual school, they do have, they're on that. They're the ones that really kind of help shape that. And so now the conversation will turn to keeping an eye on to make sure how proactive KSD is, as well as how involved they are in trying to bring people to the table to make sure that that alternate calculation does truly reflect what is intended from the legislation. So we'll keep you updated on that. The other one that's really, like I said, is going, was alluded to earlier, the Building Opportunity Bond. That campaign continues. We'll continue to make many attempts to get patrons information so that they can make an informed decision. I do want to clarify that there is a huge difference. We as a district can inform people. When we did the mailing a couple, 2 or 3 weeks ago now, that went to all people that lived within the USD230 boundaries, that was all information. There was no influence in terms of saying vote one way or the other, because we wanted people to be educated. We can pay the bit. We are not allowed to do anything that has a vote yes on it. And so that's why we do, as Director Horn alluded to there, we have a very active, very strong group that's out there getting out the vote. so to speak, and they can put that three-letter word on their materials. And they have with the signage you see, the buttons you're seeing. Now, those are paid for from that committee's funds, not the district funds on that. And they have done very, very well with in having individuals contribute to that want to see that bond successful. So again, the ballots we're still a little over a week away. The ballots are going to be mailed out to the registered voters on the 23rd. Voters can register up until the 22nd, but they have to, if they do between now and the 22nd, they do have to request that a ballot be mailed to them, and they will get it. And then we have our next town hall that we had slated for next Tuesday at 7. We also have a final Facebook Live, which will be held Thursday, the 25th at 7. We had both of those last week, a couple weeks ago, we had those as well. And again, I thought that overall they went very well, trying to get the word out. Ballots have to be returned back to the election authority in office through the mail or whatever, but they have to be received by Tuesday, May 13th at noon. Okay. And the most compelling thing, as y'all have heard me say, I keep a running countdown, is after tonight, when the clock strikes midnight, we are 28 days away from knowing the results. And we started back when the board was very proactive in making the decision to pursue this on January the 29th. At that time, we were about 104 days away. So the time has slowly ticked away, but I do applaud the board, our staff, everyone that's really contributed to this effort to get the word out so that people can be informed. And like I said, we'll see what happens, but I feel very good at this point. Looking around, the last week with the state, there were several bond issues across Kansas. There were some close to us on the other state side. As you saw, many close to us were successful. Not only were they successful, they were successful by quite a wide margin. So hopefully we will be able to continue that trend. So that's my superintendent's report. Oh, and we are hosting the Rotary Club for lunch tomorrow to inform them. If any of you are hungry around noon, stop in and we'll make sure that you can have some as well as maybe say a few words. We held the coffee last Friday and it went very well as well. Sharon, I hope we met the standard of the chamber, but we got good feedback. It was good attendance. So I am done now.
Thank you, Dr. Luttrell. Okay, well, I guess we are adjourned.